It's Sunday night, July 4th, America's birthday, here on the Hard to Name podcast. Once again, coming at you alongside my friend Adam. Adam, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm celebrating independence by blowing things up.
Well, there you have it. Have you seen the new Independence Day flick?
No, I haven't.
I've heard really bad things.
Really? That's disappointing. I was really hoping to it not be bad.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I mean, it does have all the, I don't know. Everything says, hey, this is probably going to be bad. It's probably a bad idea.
Probably. But anyway, Adam, thank you again, my friend, for joining me. What's been going on with you this week in the world of Adam? We got some positive feedback from our first show. Pretty successful venture, for a first attempt. Some things you want to talk about, get off your chest. What's going on with you?
Not much. What kind of feedback did we get? Who's talking about us on the internet?
Some friends on Twitter, where you can find us at the Hibiki TMD, just said, that it was a cool show. Down to earth topics was, laid back. Pretty informed.
Nobody said they wanted to fist us about anything?
No, nobody. Nobody wanted to have a knife fight or anything like that.
Nobody's like, hey, bring you and all your boys to the alley at 4 o'clock. Knives and chains only.
No.
That's what I was worried about. I was like, yeah, this is definitely, we're going to end up in a street brawl because of this one. But I guess that didn't happen, so.
We're going to need matching vests.
So
but no.
Like bright red leather. That really brings out my eyes.
The Warriors. There you have it. But, yeah, a lot of people like the show. I thought it was a good show. I would listen to us. I'd give us shit.
I listen to it. It's weird. It's always weird hearing yourself.
Definitely.
After being recorded. But, no, I totally did okay. This one's going to be even better. So I'm just going to raise everybody's expectations through the roof, and then
just to let them down.
Just to let them down. So I think maybe we'll do a little bit better this time. I don't know. Maybe we won't do better this time.
And then we'll sulk about it all day, and then we'll be sad. No,
yeah, that's right. So there you go. There you have it. If you don't like this podcast, you're just going to make us sad. So if that's something you can live with as a consumer of, media, you just like making people sad, then go ahead. Give a shit. Give a shit.
You sad bandits, come and go with your sadness. But, yeah, man, I've been diving into the PS4 library, just kicking back when I can, play some games. Got to go on vacation this week to the sweetest place on earth, Hershey Park. That was neat.
I had a friend that beat up Peppermint Patty when
really?
I was a kid. Yeah. You know him, it's Terry, DJ. Probably not a listener of this podcast, but if he is, throw me a line sometime. I haven't seen him in forever. Yeah, when we were kids, he went out there, and he, Peppermint Patty tried to give him a hug. Patty up a little bit.
I feel like you're gonna punch me because I still haven't downloaded Worms yet that you suggested.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck you're doing, not playing Worms or Nidhogg.
Just so swamped in my gameplay choices right now.
Worms and Nidhogg are nice, background games, I guess you'd call them.
Right.
The way that I look at games is I usually have one game that I'm pushing through, like platinum, one somewhat narrative game that I'm focused on, and then I usually keep little multiplayer games going along.
Right. You gotta have the multi on there.
Yeah, so that's what Worms currently is falling into that. I hopped on some Rocket League. I just got back on Rocket League.
That's a game I definitely want to get into Rocket League. That's something I want to do.
Yeah, Rocket League is really fun. It was a lot easier to get into it a year ago, back when it was brand new and everybody was kind of on an even playing field.
Right. But now everyone's
kind of gotten away. Yeah. There's people that are really, really good now.
Like with all online games, pretty much.
It's still fun. I haven't played it in 6 months, and I'm definitely not as good as the people who have played it since then. But
yeah,
I just got off with Marshall and Justin and Emily. That was fun. It's fun. You should get it. It's worth $20 or whatever it is they're charging for it. $30. Definitely worth it.
Well, the Worms franchise has always been pretty fun.
Oh no, I meant Rocket League.
Oh yeah, right.
Probably
that
the
too.
best, sports game that I can think of.
Yeah, it looks really unique and it looks like a blast. So definitely got to check that out.
Yeah.
I picked
if
up.
somebody would have told you like, hey, driving into balls and trying to play soccer with cars, that's something you're gonna love.
Yeah, it's
yeah, that sounds dumb.
Like yeah, but then you see it played out and you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
The same thing with Nidhogg. That's another one I've been hounding you on.
Now explain Nidhogg to me, because you sent me a text earlier explaining or telling me this game, and honestly I've never played it and I don't believe I've seen footage of it. So explain to us on the Hard to Name podcast, what is Nidhogg?
It's dumb looking. It's really dumb looking. My brothers turned me on to it. They're like, hey, check out this game. It looks like a 2600 game. And it's just like a sword fighting fencing game. But it is an incredible amount of fun. And it's super duper simplistic. Yet, if you get two people in there that kind of know what they're doing, you can end up with a really colorful, fun match. And right now, it's less than $5.
Nice.
So it's
So
one of
it's a
those
steal.
games that you're not going to play for like 8 hours at a time. But it's a fun, like, hey, man, I see you're on. Do you want to play a couple rounds of Nidhogg? And you just play a couple rounds and you go your separate ways. So,
Right.
yeah. Go spend the $5, man. Go get Nidhogg. It's a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of free to play, I did download Warframe. I've heard a lot of mixed shit about it over the years. I've never played it. I know I could have played it years ago, but I don't know. I played it for like 15 minutes and I put it down. So.
I've never played that. There was a game that my brother Andrew was playing. Cannot for the life of me think of what it was. I think it might have been Warframe. But no, I haven't. So free to play models, I'm always weary about. I think that's a kind of a shitty model to try to sell your game. I would rather support the developer up front and then get some support in return, whether it's the updates or things like that.
I mean, just browsing, yeah. Just browsing through like all the gear in Overwatch, you could spend 60 easily on just like a full set alone. But I mean, I guess because the game's older, there is a lot of more free content you can download. But between Overwatch and fucking Battlefront and all the online games I have already, doing multiplayer is not as bad as everyone claimed it was. I actually enjoy that too. I just don't really have time for another online type, what I'm saying. Like, I'm pretty backed up. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people give Overwatch so much shit over the years, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's horrible. Eventually, maybe I'll get more into it, but...
Overwatch or Warframe?
Warframe.
Okay. You said Overwatch.
No, Overwatch has pretty much consumed my gaming life for the most part lately. That, and I picked up Arkham Knight, and that's really good, too.
That is sitting here on my shelf, which it was next in line, but they also re-released Resident Evil 5, and I've got a couple friends that are pulling my arm, twisting my arm, pulling my leg. I don't know.
Yeah, to get back into it.
They've convinced me. Yeah, they've convinced me, I think. So I'll probably pick that up.
You talked about Arkham Knight is waiting for you to open?
Yeah, Arkham Knight. I picked it up at a pawn shop like a month ago. And it was like, okay, cool. When I'm done with The Witcher and Fallout DLC and stuff, maybe I'll hop on Arkham Knight. So I'll get to it eventually. It is on my list of things to do. So right now, I'm probably going to spend the next week. I'm going on vacation next week, so I'll probably spend the next week just playing big piddly stuff, Rocket League or Worms, and then obviously the retro lineup stuff that I play with the kid.
It's always on tap, the retro lineup stuff.
Yeah, I just found another pack of Wii Wads that I've installed, so I ended up with some arcade titles. I got to play some arcade versions of Ghosts and Goblins and Altered Beast, which is neat because I love both of those games. And I played Ghosts and Goblins in the arcade a long time ago, and I don't think I ever played Altered Beast's arcade version.
The arcade version is unlockable on the Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection, I think, for the PS3 and 360. That's the only time I've ever played the arcade version, but it was a lot better than the Genesis version, definitely.
I feel like it's definitely, there's a little bit more difficult. Things to move a little faster. That's the one thing I can say about Ghosts and Goblins as well. That game is way fucking harder.
They're definitely programmed to be the, like, quarter muncher type games, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, like, I'm not a pro by any means of Ghouls and Ghosts. Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins. But those games, I've always loved those games. But what I did yesterday, I got to play the arcade version, and then I played the Sega Genesis version, which I didn't even know there was a Sega Genesis version up until yesterday. And that game is really easy compared to all the other versions. So it's weird. I got to play probably the hardest version of it and the easiest version almost back to back.
Yeah.
But it's weird that there's, I feel like it's not something we see so much anymore. One, because arcades don't exist.
Unless you buy the cabinets at this point and put it in your basement.
Yeah, I mean, do your own thing. But even still, we kind of touched on this a little bit last week, but the same game, different games, kind of, depending on what console or arcade port it was. It's always interesting to see. I mean, you look at a game like Paperboy that came out it's the same concept. It came out for a bunch of different platforms, and each platform is unique in its own way.
Yep. Then there's Paperboy 64, and then it all went to shit.
And then it all went to shit.
Complete, utter shit. Ugh.
And I know that's on your list of things. The Nintendo 64 20th anniversary. Helped make us feel old. I feel old.
Well, we are old, man. We're getting up there.
That's true.
It's just reality saying hello.
But yeah, so the 64, I guess we'll segue into that. I don't know if that's as smooth as I intended it to sound, but
hey, it was a rocky road, but we got there. The Nintendo 64 turns 20 years old this month, Adam. 20 years ago today. The first place, I don't know if we discussed this on the first episode. I feel like we did. I remember the first place I saw a 64 was at Lowe's, on like one of those kiosk game things.
At Lowe's?
Yeah, at Lowe's by our local mall.
Wow, that is weird.
Yeah, I know. And I don't remember seeing any other console ever there to play. It was only like the 64. It was so weird because it was so unexpected. I remember as a kid too. Like I hated going to Lowe's with my dad because it was boring. But I turn over and there's fucking Super Mario 64 glaring at me. I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like it's here. Because I remember reading about it coming like Game Pro as a kid forever. And
wait, were you a Game Pro kid?
I was a Game Pro kid, indeed.
Oh shit.
Were you a Game Pro kid?
I was. I did a lot of stuff, but I think Nintendo Power. I had subscriptions to Nintendo Power a lot. I
had that on and off, but I always got like Game Pro at my local convenience store. My parents would buy for me like every month. Instead of just getting me a subscription, they would just shell out the extra money, which made no sense. But yeah,
that's another topic, I think, for another day.
Yeah, let's save that. Let's put that one on the back burner for the time being.
Yeah.
Adam, what is the first game you played on 64? Was it Super Mario 64? Was it Ocarina? Well, it could have been Ocarina of Time because it had been out for 2 years.
No, it was Super Mario 64. My aunt and uncle had it, and we would go over there to their house on Friday nights. And I remember it became like painful to watch my sister play. Like we would have to take turns. And she was not good, but she was good enough where she wouldn't die immediately.
Yeah.
So I was like definitely backseat playing that game the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, fucking, you're doing it wrong.
What are you doing?
And it got to the point where it was like, please just don't play. Please don't make me take turns with you. Let me just play this game. But yeah, I was in love. Mario 64 is still one of my favorite games ever.
It's a good one.
I can sit down and play Mario 64 anytime and just be like, yeah, There's a reason Mario games are as popular as they are.
Well, back in the day, at least back in like up until I want to say the Wii, maybe Super Mario games were always like an event. You know what I mean? Well, Super Mario Galaxy too, for what it was.
I was about to say, there's a lot of people who would probably argue that Super Mario Galaxy is maybe the most essential platformer of all time. I personally, probably more for nostalgic reasons, but I think Mario 64 is better than Galaxy. But
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at it from any kind of real person without any nostalgia, they're going to say the Galaxy is better.
True. And then you have your Super Mario Sunshine bandwagon fans, and you have your, I want to say,
those are the same people who say that Majora's Mask is better than Ocarina.
Exactly. When Majora's Mask came out the first time I played, I was like, oh, timers, like what is this shit? It's bad enough it takes forever to find shit in Zelda the first run, but now you're putting timers into it, and I don't know. I've loved Ocarina, but that's another springboard into.
That's probably an easy way to get everybody on the internet upset with you because it's the cool one to like now. Everybody.
Oh no, I don't give two shits about that.
Like Majora's Mask, but I don't think that that's really true. It seems to be a really popular thing. Same thing with Sunshine. Everybody's like, well, why does everybody give Sunshine such a hard time? It's a fun game, and it's the best Mario game ever.
No way.
And the Majora's Mask people are, it's like, God damn it, no, it's not a better game. It's fucking,
yeah.
And no, your opinion is not unique, and it's not unique for the sake of being unique. Majora's Mask is the anti-Zelda. That is a game where exploration is not rewarded because you're on the timer. And the whole point of Zelda is fun and adventure, exploration.
Taking your time.
Do the same thing repeatedly. Be timed while you're doing it. It's pretty much everything Zelda does not stand for.
I gotta totally agree. Let me pose this question to you. What do you put at the bottom of the rung? You have Zelda 2 there, and then you have Majora's Mask.
No, because you got all those goddamn goofy DS ones. Or are we not counting this?
Well, are we going to count the Philips CDIs? I mean, do they even qualify?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Can we even qualify like the Philips CDI versions of Zelda?
I wouldn't necessarily count those because those were not really. I mean, they were Zelda games, sure, but they weren't really Nintendo games. But
right.
What were we looking at? Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. Those were Nintendo games. And
yes.
I think that's when those games came out. I don't remember which one came out first. I think it was Phantom Hourglass. I remember thinking, this is where it ends for me. I mean, this is it. Because up until that point, I'd beaten all the Zelda games. Yeah. And I consider myself a big Zelda fan. There wasn't any of them that I thought were particularly bad. Even Majora's Mask, I don't hate that game. I just think it's absolutely bonkers to say that it's the best one. Same thing with Zelda 2. I don't hate that game. A lot of people hate that game, but it's not my favorite Zelda game. But up until this goofy ass DS ones where they're like, oh, you don't press buttons, you just draw it with the fucking stylus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't care. I'm done. I'm done doing this.
That's too much damn effort.
Fucking Minish Cap was awesome.
Minish Cap was awesome. It was on the eShop.
Like, yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's like $8, I think.
Yeah, I would say those DS, a lot of the DS games, and I realize the DS is a popular system, and I think it's one of the best-selling handheld systems ever. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's sold more than everything else so far.
Yeah, I believe so.
But there was a lot of games on there that were just kind of garbage. A lot of shovelware went on there.
True that.
And a lot of the touch stuff. People talk about how the motion controls are overly gimmicky, but you don't ever really hear anybody say that touch controls are gimmicky. And I feel like the touch controls are definitely gimmicky, like especially when they started shoving that into games that it didn't need to be in. I remember Dawn of Sorrow, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. That game is awesome. But whenever you beat a boss, you got to draw a stupid little symbol on the fucking screen.
So then you got to reach for your stylus, and half the time you drop it because you're rushed.
What the fuck? Who designed this? Like, I just beat the shit out of this thing. Let me move on. It's over. I killed it. I've done what I needed to do, and now you're going to make me draw a little symbol, and if I don't, then he gets like 20% health back. Like, oh my god.
Castlevania should only require you some.
Like, you're going to give him some health back. That's fine. Let me fail it multiple times, but eventually just pummel him to death. That's, I'll pay that price. I'll beat him down another 50% if I have to. But goddamn, no, they want you to like, hey, stop what you're doing. Where's that fucking stylus at? Can you draw this little stupid star symbol? Like, this isn't fun. And it didn't have to be that way.
It's the oversimplification of the market geared to expand to more audiences. Like remember in the original Wii commercials, they had the actual like all these elderly people around like playing fucking Wii Sports, and it was like, oh, we're old. I saw that on TV. That's for us. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, you can just draw stuff like a fourth grader, and you can beat the game.
That's half the reason the Wii's, I think, sold as well as it did. Just because
one of the top 3 selling consoles of all time, the Wii.
There's 100 million units out there. I'm fairly certain. I don't think anything has ever sold as good as the Wii.
Yeah.
And you are breaking up. Just a little side note here. I don't know if you want to edit that out, but you're crackling on my end. Since you're recording, you're. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, I'll just edit that out.
If you don't like the quality of this recording, listener, then fuck you, buddy.
And if you don't like that I didn't edit it out, a double fuck you. Because what if I just kept it in there? You're just going to have to live with it, like we all will.
Look what you guys have done. Now you made Travis upset. I told you at the beginning of this podcast he was sensitive, and you guys just shit on his feelings.
You don't want to ruffle. Well, if you ruffle the host's feathers, then you get a shitstorm on the show. So only they suffer.
So yeah, there's but no, I guess we kind of.
Well, let's throw it back to the anniversary of the 64 real quick. On the Ocarina of Time, do you think that game single-handedly saved the franchise? Because it lay dormant for a little while, except for the handheld market.
No, I don't think so. I think Zelda would have been Zelda no matter what they did. I think between the original and Link to the Past, people had enough good faith where it definitely, obviously helped the series, but I don't think that the series would have died had they just skipped the Nintendo 64. And I do think it would have been a much harder thing to sell Wind Waker, which everyone absolutely hated at the time, and now, once again, is like everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, ooh, Wind Waker, I love that game.
Where were you in 2003,
Yeah.
And at the time, the graphics on the Wind Waker rivaled some of the Xbox's graphics.
Yeah, the Wind Waker is not a bad game. There's a lot of boring boat riding stuff, but, I mean, I guess that's, it's just a way of traveling. It's not necessarily a huge problem.
But yeah,
Wind Waker, I don't love it.
I don't love it either. I was about to say I like it, but it's good. It's a good game. Nothing wrong with the Wind Waker. A little different of the art direction and everything, but yeah, I mean, I gotta agree too. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think people would have had enough faith in the Zelda franchise for them to do something like a Wind Waker if Ocarina had never been made.
Or you could see it like they released Ocarina of Time later. Like if they were released that in like 2000 at the tail end, I think it was released at the perfect time of that new transition to 3D.
Ocarina did. I mean, it did do a lot of things good. It definitely did a lot of things good for the Nintendo 64. But I mean, the Nintendo 64 it had a pretty good library. It had a pretty good run.
It did, and I was going to say also that, I mean, you had San Francisco Rush if you're into racing. That was probably my favorite 64 racing.
Oh, that game was fucking awesome. There was a lot. I don't know if it's because I was younger. I'm not so much into racing games. I play them. I don't have anything against them. But they're not my favorite genre. But man, I played a lot of fucking racing games for the 64 when I was a kid.
Yeah, I've always gone through spurts with racing games. Like, I'll be into them for a little while, but it's like, oh, I'm getting into this too much. I'm not a racing game guy. And just like with sports games, like basketball games are fun, but I don't even think I can finish a whole game anymore at this point in the game for me, But I mean, speaking of basketball, you had Kobe Bryant basketball in '64. That was a good game. You had, of course, the THQ wrestling series, the legendary wrestling games on the '64. Awesome games to this day.
Yeah, it makes me sad that THQ kind of just turned into a big pile of
Shit.
crap that just put out mediocre stuff. Because those wrestling games were good. They even did the SmackDown stuff down the road too, didn't they?
They did it well into the PS2 SmackDown games. I think even the early SmackDown versus Raw, I think THQ was controlling the reins there. So, but I mean, that series has come around a little bit too, the WWE series lately. But nothing like these games. I mean, the '64 wrestling.
Well,
I mean, even the import Japanese New Japan Pro Wrestling game, which plays just like them, just with Japanese skins, real Japanese wrestlers. It's awesome. So, and plus Vader's in it. If you remember Vader, shout out to Vader.
Yeah. Shout out to Vader.
He was in the Fist of the North Star live action movie.
I've actually been watching wrestling the last 2 weeks, I guess. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It seems like a bunch of nobodies, but it's probably just because I jumped in at a weird time.
Right.
It seems like a bunch of people that I don't see anybody. And I know we're getting way off topic. This is probably something better for your other podcast.
No, it's all. Go for it.
As a previous, I used to like wrestling a lot. I popped it on, and I don't hate it. I don't really care for anybody. Nobody's really grabbed me and been like, hey, you should like this guy, or hey, these guys are obviously heels. Like, it's just like, okay, I guess so. And I guess the champion, Dean Ambrose, am I supposed to like him? Am I supposed to not like him?
That's a topic we always get into on the Slam Pigs podcast. Cheap plug. Just dropped an episode today, actually. So that was a great little. Thank you for the promo setup there, Adam.
I mean, I feel like I want to like him, but the more you see him talk, the more you're like, this is just a second rate.
No, exactly. That's what we always say on the show. We're always like, okay, he's trying to play the crazy gimmick, and we'll wrap it up on the wrestling real quick, guys. If you're not into wrestling, we'll get it out of the way.
Yeah. But if you are into wrestling, explain Dean Ambrose to me.
Yeah, I got nothing.
It's not just him. I don't see a lot of star power. I guess that's, in short, that's what I'm trying to get at.
We always argue like the best guys to play the crazy gimmick like he's trying to portray, they seem natural. He seems like he's playing a part. Like Roddy Piper, you thought that was Roddy fucking Piper. You know what I'm saying? Like when he went crazy, you thought that was him. I
feel like if there was anyone to compare his, I guess it would be a Roddy Piper-esque, like, hey, try to do what Roddy Piper was doing. Maybe. Also, last thing I'll say before we can move on, Shane McMahon's fucking old now. What the fuck? And
he sounds so different. His voice is so much higher. He's like, I'm Shane McMahon. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Fuck, who is this guy?
Well, speaking of feeling old, there you go.
Yeah, last the fucking Real World guy is a professional wrestler, which I guess maybe he's been around for a while, but it was weird. Brandy came in and was like, hey, that's The Miz. He's from the Real World. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, you want to know something even more sad than that? About 4 years ago, he was the heavyweight champion, so I'm not a big Miz fan. My brother's a big Miz fan.
I don't know. I guess it's weird. I once again, he just kind of came off as like, nah, I don't really care. Don't care about this guy.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And I know I've said it a bunch. I'm going to get off this. I promise I'm going to get off this.
No, you're fine.
Fucking Seth Rollins? Not Seth Rollins. What the fuck is his name?
Roman Reigns?
No, the other dude. The other dude who's picking up a bunch of shit. I can't even think of his name now. The other guy who's going to Battleground.
Seth Rollins with the long black hair and the.
Okay, yeah, it is Seth Rollins. Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, that just comes off as, it's hard to watch.
Because it seems like he's acting to me. Is that what you're going? Yeah.
Everything seems like he's acting. I see nobody that's out there. Like, I feel like I can't be immersed in wrestling the way, and maybe it's because I'm older.
Well, they've definitely, for like the past, I don't know, almost decade, have been in a drought with top stars. It just seems like they can't find the guys like they had in the past, like Austin, The Rock. They had the it factor. These guys are just like plain Jane. They're doing the best with what they have. It's just their ratings are down, and it's bad times lately for the old WWE train.
Well, but it's not even. I mean, they're obviously talented people. I think it's a cop out to say, oh, you know,
it's
these
what
guys,
they're compared to. Like what's always, I don't know, what's always shoved down.
I think
the writing is awful, and
bad.
Yeah, not knowing how to book the guys.
And I want there to be like oh man, that's crazy. But I don't know. And like I said, I'm looking at a very, very small window, but I didn't see anyone get hit with a chair. Like the most I saw someone get kicked into some ringside steps, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!"
Well, you see, at the same time, speaking of earlier, like talking about like reaching out to demographics as a company, they're trying to reach out to people like you who are like casual watchers or like first time to grasp them, but it's not working. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you know, like
it doesn't make. I don't know. I feel like the sun has set, I suppose, on professional wrestling. It makes me sad to watch it.
I think the internet has played a big part, and like everyone knows everything now, so it's harder for them to get into a character because everyone's like, "Oh, this shit's just fucking fake." You know what I mean? Like they always have to deal with that.
I mean, and there's always going to be that. But that's not new.
But it seems like it's more and more now than that. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, that's because they do such a shitty job with the writing, it looks like.
Exactly. You want to know, to wrap it up on the wrestling real quick, I'll tell you a staggering fact, because I'm a wrestling nerd and I know shit like this. In, like, the golden era, I don't know, like, what would you, like, the late 80s, mid-90s, like, the golden era wrestling, before the Austin era, like, the Hogan, Randy Savage era, they had a total of 4 writers, okay? Now, with as bad as it is, and I consider back in the day pretty good. I mean, it was a little cheesy, but that's good sometimes. Nowadays, they have over 30 writers, and it's this bad. Imagine 30 guys sitting in a fucking room trying to agree on one thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, everything needs approved by Vince McMahon. So you got to get Vince's approval at the end of the day, and he's out of touch old cod bastard. You know what I'm saying? But
there, John Cena.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. John Cena. There's so many problems. 3 hours of Raw is too much to expect someone to watch every single week. That's also killing the show because there's so much filler, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I think John Cena is a good thing. And once again, a very small window is where I'm looking at. But if I think, you know, and I guess he's not a new wrestler. He's probably been with them since I stopped wrestling, probably, or since I stopped watching.
Oh yeah, about that time, like early 2000s, he came in.
Yeah, but he seems to have the star power. The crowd, you can see the crowd change when he's out there.
Right. Yeah.
So, but
well, speaking of change,
Chris Jericho is old, and then we can move on. Chris Jericho is old as fuck now. God damn.
He's super old. He's Fat Bon Jovi now.
He is Fat Bon Jovi. So he was like, "Who's that guy?" Like,
that's actually what the crowd chants at him now. They chant Fat Bon Jovi at him now. That's pretty funny.
Is he a heel? Is he a bad guy now?
He's a heel. He's a heel.
Bad back and forth. But.
Yeah, he's like the arrogant rock star playing. He's playing like an arrogant rock star type, and he wears a little scarf like Steven Tyler just to piss people off. Yeah, Jericho's great. I mean, I was a big Jericho fan. He's a good heel, you know.
It's first of all, it's always weird to see somebody with long hair that doesn't have long hair anymore. Because the last time I saw Chris Jericho, he did have long hair. So
Is it weird to see me now? Because I used to have Jericho hair.
Yes, and well, it's always been weird for me because we've been friends for so long. And realistically, you only had long hair for a very small amount of time over the course of our friendship.
I know, right? Like maybe 4 years.
Not even.
Not even.
You shaved your head before we were 20.
Oh yeah, I would
since I was
definitely.
15 or 16.
I think I was
So
19.
yeah. So I mean, you've gone the last decade without it, but it's it's always gonna be weird. I don't know.
I always remember you rocking the trench coat when I met you when you were really young, and you had the fucking did you have the Op Ivy shirt with the trench coat?
I did, yes. But before you gotta specify. You're making me sound like I'm one of those guys who hung out and was like, I am the Matrix. I'm not.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go like Columbine on it.
Yeah, no. It also was not a Columbine trench. It was a long coat, not a. I was not a Columbine guy. Not a Columbine guy or a Matrix fan. So, suck it, Matrix fans.
And there's 2 more Matrix movies coming apparently. Ugh.
Oh my God, yeah, we can go into that if you want. He also said there's a 3rd Bill and Ted movie, so I don't know.
Just go play in your shitty little band, Keanu Reeves, and leave everybody alone.
Nobody wants to shit. Get out of here, Keanu. We need to chase him out with like a stick. That's what probably needs to do.
Get on out of here.
There's Keanu Reeves again. Oh my God, there's Keanu Reeves by a trash can. Get the stick, Martha.
Morpheus? Yeah. I don't like the Matrix movies. I never have. I never understood everyone. Like, at the time, the effects were cool, but effects can't make a whole movie for me. You know what I mean?
It was fantastic. And then it just got worse and worse.
I didn't even like the first one. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't into it.
But it's
not to be all hipster about it, but there's just something.
Yeah, way to be a hipster.
Yeah.
Gary. But no, okay. So for everybody that hates wrestling, I'm really sorry I took us off on a 20-minute wrestling tirade. We can edit that out, I guess. I don't know.
No, fuck them. We're gonna put it in there because we're all over the place. This is anything we want to talk about. It's hard to name what it's about.
Exactly. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll talk about wrestling every now and then. We'll talk about comic books and movies and Keanu Reeves. And
chasing them out with sticks.
Chasing them out with sticks. We'll talk about the band Styx every now and then. So we'll talk about the River of Styx. So it's going to happen. Stick around with us and be amazed at our wealth of knowledge and opinions on various subjects. So anyways, sorry about the wrestling tirade. Kind of came out of nowhere. But you're my wrestling go-to guru. So
the guru of wrestling.
Better be you. So Dean Ambrose. Not sure. Chris Jericho. What the fuck happened to him? Shane McMahon's old. WWE's got no talent. That sums it up. We can move on. Next
well,
topic.
let's talk about something that's really neat that I don't usually pick up these, like, I don't want to say Retron type, but like, I don't know, your standalone, how do you say, consoles that are maybe, this is $40, I believe, at store price. The Retro Bit Generations console features over 60 games, old school Data East, and Capcom arcade games. Now,
is it Capcom arcade games or is it just Data East?
It's both. It's both.
Okay.
It's half Data East, and I don't know if it's half Capcom, but there's a lot of other. I think it's more Data East games.
This is the one with that has Knights of the Round on there, right?
Yes, and it has Mercs and Ghosts and Goblins.
I did read something about this the other day. I wasn't sure if this was the one that you were talking about though when you said it earlier.
Yeah, all arcade ports too.
So, yeah, Knights of the Round is a beat 'em up, right? Is that the one?
Yes, it was a great beat 'em up. It was ported to the SNES. It was awesome. I love that.
I was gonna say I played it on the Super Nintendo. This console thing, I don't really know much to say. I don't know how much into emulation we can get, and the moral guidelines of emulation. I'm a fan of emulation, so things like this don't really strike me as anything one way or the other. I know Sega did something cool where they're like, here's a bunch of pre-packed Sega games, and you can put your old games into it, and it's got wireless controllers, which, I mean, that's all really neat, but I can play all those games already. I don't need to buy a fancy thing and take them another plug.
Oh, I'm the same way. I think that's why this sticks out more to me, because for some reason, MAME gives me more trouble than other emulators for some reason. It's choppy. It fucks up all the time. So it's
Do you
great.
have a Wii?
Yes, I do, and I need to get a bunch of hacks on my Wii. I need to get on that.
Let's get together. 'Cause I was getting ready to do another one. Anyways, get together with me. We'll knock them both out at the same time. But my Wii does whatever I want it to. So there's a huge homebrew scene out there for the Wii. There's a lot of support still, a lot of stuff you can do. And I'm not really condoning piracy. I don't know. This is a kind of a touchy subject because I feel like it's morally gray to illegal, depending on your point of view.
Right.
So I don't know how much emulation we should talk about.
I think it's always best to view emulation like this. I mean, you're preserving these games because the original carts aren't going to last forever. Let's face the facts. So emulating these classic games keeps it around. It's just like an artist with his painting. You know what I mean?
Well, there's to an extent.
And most of the people that worked on like 80s games, a good bit could possibly be dead. It is 2016, so as far as money, I mean, who knows? I mean,
the thing is ROMs are totally legal as long as you own the copy. So there's a ton of games that I have, but I don't feel the need to hook up my NES to play these things. Like, if I can play them on my phone, why not just play them on my phone? Or if I can just put everything on the Wii, why not just play it all on the Wii? If I want to fire up a Sega game, boom.
Does all this get put to rest? What is it, every 50 years something qualifies as public domain? Is it 50 years, 75 years?
It's 75, and I'm pretty sure somebody is buying the term public domain to make sure you can't use that anymore. Like, public domain is such a weird, strange thing, and in today's world, copyright is a huge, huge, huge deal. So, for the sake of the podcast, piracy is bad. Emulation can be good. One of the things that's kind of neat about emulating stuff is ports and patches, ports and English patches. A couple of Fire Emblem games that I would not have otherwise been able to play because I don't read Japanese. Yet there's people out there that put in a lot of time to change and make things better. So
I would have never played Sweet Home. I would have never played Mother 3. So many games, you're right. Like,
yeah, and I feel like that is at that point, it's about exposure.
I would have never played Samurai Pizza Cats on the Famicom, which is a great fucking game that I'm going to get to one day. If you've never played Samurai Pizza Cats, Adam, it's fucking awesome. It's based on an anime. A little silly, but it's a nice little action platformer.
It definitely sounds silly.
It's way better than Alex Kidd, because fuck Alex Kidd. Every incarnation of Alex Kidd can eat me. For real, I hate Alex Kidd.
But there's also, you have ROM hacks that, make games more difficult or change things around.
Right.
Or Pussy City Pimps,
Yeah, I totally forgot to play that. That reminds me, you told me in the last episode about that game. Totally forgot to get around to that. I need to get all my shit. I'm really behind.
Yeah. Pussy City Pimps is it's a lot of fun. The only problem is the ROM that I have seems to be broken. There's a spot where you have to kill 4 bosses, and eventually there's going to be a part that opens up for you later on down in the school. If you've ever played River City Ransom, Pussy City Pimps is like a very adult-themed hack of River City Ransom. And it's a lot of fun.
I love the Castlevania homebrews and shit. Like, what was it, Circle of the Moon? No, not Circle of the Moon.
I mean, people have been doing that with Mario for way before Mario Maker was a thing.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember being back in high school and playing a Mario 2 hack, and it was awful. Like, your Mario sprite was completely black, and you would pull up. No, it was white, completely white with a peak on it, on the sprite, like a KKK hood, and it would pull little black babies from the ground. It was an awful game.
Yeah, I remember one that was just like fireballs and platforms, and fireballs and platforms, and fireballs and platforms. I remember thinking, like, I don't remember this level. What the fuck is going on here?
A lot of game developers, like on current games, got their start in making those hacks back in the 2000s, the early 2000s. It's crazy. I mean, Doom Maker was also a big thing back in the day, Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I don't think I ever played any Doom hacks. Now that I'm thinking about it. But
Yeah, I don't know where to
Yeah,
segue into right now. My mind went blank. I'll have to edit this out too. I will definitely edit this.
sorry, I was just checking on the kid, making sure she was asleep.
Oh, you're good.
Oh,
But yeah, man, I mean, I don't think emulation deserves to be crucified. I think emulation, like you said, can be good. I mean, it can be bad too, depending on what it's affecting financially, or a lot of these guys really down and out that they need every little dime like that.
yeah, you don't want to hurt progress, but at the same time, word of mouth is probably the best form of advertising. So if someone plays a game that they otherwise never ever would have played had they needed money to play it, and then they played it and they say, wow, this is great, and then they tell their friends, and even if they tell 5 friends, and then one of those friends buys the game, that's one person more that bought the game. So, I don't know. I got in an argument with a GameStop employee one time who...
Oh, God.
Yeah, oh my God, GameStop employees. If you're a GameStop employee, sorry. I don't hate you. I'm sure not all of you are annoying, but I've definitely run into enough annoying GameStop employees to know that it's probably a lot of them. I don't know.
Stop asking me to pre-order shit. I will tell you what I want to purchase.
Fucking just let me look around. Just take my money. Let me buy this thing that I came for, and let me walk away.
No, I will never buy Infinite Warfare. I will never buy that game. So stop fucking asking me about the pre-order.
I don't want to save 15% on this thing by buying it for fucking $20 right now.
I don't want your shitty magazine with the deal either, because that's obsolete. 2016.
Anyways, fucking man. But he was like, oh yeah, fucking the pirates, they're killing the industry. The people that are pirating games are killing the industry. The hackers are killing the industry.
The industry is thriving more than ever, especially with the prices of retro games. You know, like, shit.
How can you got, for every one pirate, how many fucking hundreds of used games does GameStop sell? How much money from those used games goes to the developer? Zero. And these guys are fucking selling games for like $3 under what a brand new game is. I
bought Skyrim like literally 2 months ago for like $5 at GameStop. I was like, oh, fuck it.
I mean, if you went out right now and you tried to buy Overwatch, they've got Overwatch for $60, and then they've got Overwatch for $54.94.
Yeah.
Right next to it.
And they're always like, well, no one's trading them in. I don't know how else to price them. We don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the problem is, my point is, for every one person that's out there pirating stuff, you've got 100, 1,000 people going in and buying used games. So if anybody's to blame, it's the fucking used game market. You can't. Pirates are a very, very, very small part of the problem. But that also gets into like libraries. Libraries have been around forever. That doesn't mean people didn't stop writing books. Books didn't all of a sudden just turn to shit because nobody was buying books because of libraries. Libraries didn't put everybody out of business. And it's free. You go check out the library and then read whatever book you want. It doesn't cost you anything. And the writers and the publishers don't get a penny. And yet,
and how was that fair?
Yeah. People still thrive. People still make a career writing books. Publishers still make a great deal of money publishing books. Nobody's shuts down all the libraries. There's
always going to be a market for literature, video games. Certain things just always will have a market, you know. It will always thrive. Especially like something like video games where every couple years it gets graphically better, it improves. It's not like books improve over time. It's, you know, oh, this one has pink pages. You know what I'm saying? Like, books are pretty much books.
Hey, if you buy this book and hold on to it for 60 days and buy the book season pass, we'll mail you to the last chapter.
Yeah, and then you can buy 2 bonus chapters for $4.99 each.
If you pre-order this book, you'll get a different jacket for the book, and the first page will be read to you.
And if you pre-order it with all the DLC chapters, you'll get the complimentary bookmarks.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. You know, I have read a book. I guess there's probably more than just this one, but I read a book once, and when I finished the book, it said go to this website for additional chapters. And I went to the website, and they weren't charging anything, but there was like 2 chapters that took place in the middle of the book that were probably just cut due to length or something. But you could read these 2 chapters online, and they totally made sense. It's not like they weren't edited or anything like that. They fit in with the narrative, but it was weird because it was like a book that had the DLC if you wanted to know what happened somewhere in the middle.
If Walden ever comes out with like free-to-play books, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Speaking of books, now here's another. This is not something that I thought we were going to be able to talk about today, but why not? It's a fun thing. As I'm sure you know, a lot of our friends and other people that you know collect retro games, systems, things like that. I collect books and strategy guides, so I'm always keeping my ear to the ground when I go out. Old strategy guides, old Nintendo Powers, old magazines. I came across. I was looking for books for Lily. When I was a kid, I had a novelization of Ocarina of Time that was meant for children. It was probably meant for kids in like 4th grade, but it's definitely a kid's book. So I initially started looking for that book. And what I found was a series of choose-your-own-adventure books.
Nice. I love those books.
Yeah, which choose-your-own-adventure books, for those of you that don't know, are these awesome books where it's like, hey, you're walking down, you see this hallway. Do you continue to go down the stairs, turn to page 50, or do you go down the hallway, turn to page 74? And usually you end up dying.
Yeah, you turn to this page, you're dead. It's just like that blunt, too. Like, you fell, you're dead.
Yeah. So you're like, well, fuck that. I'm not going down that hallway. Now I'm dead. Anyways, choose-your-own-adventure books are a lot of fun. I found these officially Nintendo licensed books. There's 2 of them for Zelda. There's one of them for Mario 2. There's one of them for Wario Land 3.
Oh, nice.
And then, yeah, so after I found these books, which, for anybody that's interested, they're written by a dude named Craig Weasel, or Wessel, maybe he's German, I don't know, Wessell, I think.
Wexel?
Wetzel, maybe? Anyways, check it out if you're interested. They're neat. They take about half an hour to read, I guess. Me and Lily, I read them out loud to her before bed. Pretty neat. But then there's also these other books that I found that are older, choose-your-own-adventure books, that are apparently incredibly expensive as far as books go. Individually, they seem to be going for about $30 a piece, and they're just short choose-your-own-adventure Mario books from early 90s, I guess back when cartoon was.
I think I remember those. I think that we could order those through our book club at school, the Mario.
Yeah, so those things are worth a lot of money. I've got my hands on 2 of them now, but I think there's 11 or 12, and 2 of the 12 are Zelda books, or at least 2 of the 11 are Zelda books. The rest are Mario books. But anyways, that's a cool thing that I found. Very neat.
No, that's awesome. That's really weird that you brought that up. Our friend Joe, our mutual friend Joe, our good buddy Poisey, I visited him recently, I don't know, like last month, and he gave me like all these comics that he didn't want or whatever. And in them, he accidentally sent with me one of the old Valiant comics, the Legend of Zelda comics. And I remember at the time, I was like, Joe, are you sure? Because I was showing it right to him. He was like, yeah, just take it. I got to let go of it. I've got a problem with comics. I need to let go. I'm like, okay. So I take it home, and I end up texting him like a day or 2 later. He's like, yeah, I didn't mean to give you that comic. It was one of my comics as a kid, and it's worth a lot. I looked it up. It's like a $40 Zelda comic. I mean, it's hilarious. You know what I'll do in this episode, guys, is I'll put up a picture of the cover, because the enemy that Link is fighting is a bearded fat man with no pants. So
on a horse.
I believe
he's on the horse.
Yes, I believe he's on a horse.
Yeah, I have that one too. Me and Joe talked about that. Valiant actually had a fun run of Captain N comics. They had was it a Game Boy titled comic? I think it was just called Game Boy. Yeah, I had a couple of those as a kid. I think the only one I have left though is the Zelda one where he's fighting that guy with no pants who's like diving off a horse.
It's bad. He's wearing red. The bad guy's wearing red.
Yeah, that guy's wearing red. Yep,
That's
the
right.
one. I've got that one.
I got to get that back to
Joe
Joe.
has my copy, and
Well, then it could possibly be your copy.
That's also possible.
It's Valiant. I mean, all the comics that he gave me, I was like, Joe, I think a lot of these are mine. He's like, I don't know. I swear to God, like half the Valiant comics he gave me were mine originally, and I gave to him.
Well, it's always hard to tell. I can guarantee you that I have a couple here of Joe's. I am sure I have a couple of Joe's comics. I know Joe's got a couple of my comics. I know we're way off of skin, but I guess comic books falls in the realm for this podcast. But for a long time, years and years ago, I was searching for Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith, which is the Wolverine. Like, oh, how did he become Wolverine? They fucking got him with the metal and put it in his bones and gave him claws. That was back when they had given him claws.
Yeah.
Anyways, I searched for that one for a very long time. And eventually I found it. And I read it, like, immediately because I've been looking for it for so long. And Joe wanted to borrow it. Joe was like, hey, you let me read that. And I was like, sure. So he calls me the next day. And I've had this thing for like less than 48 hours. And I'm like, yeah, so what'd you think? Did you read it? And he was like, yeah, about that. You know how I like to read books when I'm in the bathtub? I was like, please don't tell me you read it.
Oh, no, he dropped it.
He's like, well, I did. I read it in the bathtub, but something happened and I dropped it in the water. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay. And I went and I still have the book. It's just completely waterlogged. And
man.
We hit it with a hairdryer and like tried to spray brush it. But yeah, so Joe, if you're listening, I haven't forgotten about that. You son of a bitch.
Way to go, Joe. Way to wear a comic in the bathtub. Lesson learned.
Don't be a Joe.
Don't be a Joe. Read your books in clothes at your chair, not naked in wetness. Ugh. Anyway. No, man, we can talk about anything on this fucking show. We can talk about games. We can talk about anything geek culture, or we can talk about anything on the show, dude. It doesn't have to be gaming. We can talk about anything geek related because we're a bunch of geeks at heart. So
it's true. So I guess that all falls in the realm.
Hey, I'll tell you what's pretty fun. Battlefront. And you told me you weren't a big fan of Battlefront. I've actually come around and spent a good bit of time with it. I love it. The graphics are really good. I mean, it takes some time getting used to how many people you're playing with, and because some of the blaster fire is identical, that can be an issue. But once you get it, my only complaints with it, Adam, are not a lot of variation on the maps, even with all the DLC I have included. I always end up playing on Hoth for some reason, and that kind of gets bland to look at after a while.
Fucking sick of being on Hoth.
So.
I don't know. And we'll see what happens when the next one rolls around. Something like that just has zero single player campaign just is not something I'm interested in.
It's pretty fun.
It's Battlefield with Star Wars skin costumes.
Jedi Power Battles was a good Star Wars game for the Dreamcast.
You know what else was a good Star Wars game? I personally really like Shadows of the Empire, but that's not Rogue Squadron. Did you ever play Rogue Squadron or Pod Racer? Episode 1 Racer?
I played the shit out of Pod Racer on the 64. Speaking of the 64, but
yeah.
I didn't spend a lot of time with Rogue Squadron. I never had it. If I ever played it, it was at a friend's house for a little bit. Not too much time spent with it.
They made 2 other ones for the GameCube, and I've never played either one of those, but for what I remember, and once again, this has been 15 plus years since I played Rogue Squadron, it was really fun. I really, really liked it. That was, I think that's actually how I ended up with my expansion pack, because it came with, you needed the expansion pack to do Rogue Squadron. Or you might not have needed it, but I think they packaged it with it. Anyways.
Yeah, that was a pain back. That was one flaw, to bring it full circle, about the 64, was a lot of games needed the expansion pack.
Yeah, but not initially. I mean, I feel like the expansion pack came out pretty late in the life cycle.
Oh, I can remember you needing it for games like San Francisco Rush, like the second one at least. Turok, I believe you needed it.
Turok, the second Turok you did, yeah, not the first one.
South Park, did you need it? I think you did.
Which one?
The
There was a couple South Park games.
the shitty first person game.
See, I like that game too. I mean, I guess it was just because I was a kid, maybe. But we talked about this last time. Castlevania 64. I like that one. I liked a lot of games from my 64. I had a lot of games. I played them all, and I liked all of them except for Gex. I played that a lot, but I never really liked it.
I never played Gex. It never like stuck out to me like you need to play this. It's just like the Geico lizard.
It's like it is the Geico lizard, but it's like a lot of movie puns. Like, hey, here's a pun about this movie.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of punny games. You know what another game on the 64 I'm not a big fan of, and you might be shocked. I'm not a big Conker's Bad Fur Day fan. I never really liked that game.
I've never played that game.
It gets a lot of fucking praise. I mean, it's funny, but it's got to be a good playable game. Just not funny to me. And it's not broken or anything. It just never was like, this is awesome. I don't really like it. I wasn't good at it. So sweep it under the rug.
I've always thought Banjo-Kazooie was an overrated title.
That's just a glorified collectathon. All you do is collect shit to progress. I hate those kind of games sometimes when it's not that great. And the fucking remake was atrocious for 360 or whenever that came out.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say it's on par with Mario 64 or even better than Mario 64, but I don't.
No way. I don't think so at all. But.
Well, I know that there's other topics that we wanted to get to, but maybe we should shovel those on for next week and move into the top 3. We've been running about an hour. I figure it always takes us a little bit longer to get through the top 3. I don't know. What do you think? You want to keep going? You want to keep these things about an hour?
I'm down for a top 3, but what I mentioned to you earlier for a topic on it, and maybe what I have in my mind now might be different. So.
Sure, hit me with whatever you got. You're boss on it. I chose the last top 3.
I'm no Danza. I'm no Tony Danza. I'm no boss. I'm no Springsteen. You're in this with me. You can call the shots too. So whatever way.
I picked the top 3 last week. This is all you. Go ahead.
Did you? I couldn't remember. Okay.
Last week was soundtracks. Here's another thing that we should be aware of. If this is a semi-weekly podcast, our top 3 list, we're going to end up having to be very creative within the year. We're going to run out of top 3 things.
Well, I want to apologize to you and our listeners tonight. I'm not really feeling like that awake. We got a late start, and I feel like I've been off my game a little bit. So I apologize to you, Adam, if I've been effing up.
No, I think this one's been pretty legit.
Well, I'm trying to live up to my end. So, but for a top 3, I don't know. My heart's telling me top 3 Star Wars games, but my head's telling me top 3 Disney games. So,
I can go either way. I'll do either one.
Let's do this week's top 3. Let's do Disney games. And we can do Star Wars games my turn in 2 weeks or in 2 episodes after your turn. So let's do Disney games. And this can be any era, retro. It's probably going to be mostly retro era, I'm guessing, for both of us. So
yeah, I haven't really played any new games.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you listen to last week's, you'll know what my number 1 is. Spoilers. But no, go ahead and kick it off. What's your number 3 Disney game?
Well, a lot of these games don't go past like the Genesis era, honestly, as far as when they were released. My number 3, I mean, there's a lot of good ones from this time. I'm gonna have to do Rescue Rangers, the first one. That was a great game. The whole box gimmick, picking up and throwing boxes. When I was a kid, this is one of those games we talk about, rented from our local video store. Shout out to Blockbuster Video. I just played this. It got multiple rentals. Hashtag Blockbuster Video Hash Browns on Sunday, July 18th. Get your retro Chippendale Rescue Rangers T-shirt and a plate of hash browns. No, this game was fun. I don't know if you ever spent a lot of time with it. I love this game to this day.
No, I haven't really. I haven't really played that game too much. I fire it up every now and then when I'm just in the mood scrolling through Nintendo games to play. I'll play it, and I always get to the same spot, and I'm like, gosh, that's why I don't like this game very much. But it's a popular game. I know a lot of people that do like it, so it's a good choice.
Adam, what's your number 3 pick on the top Disney games?
Actually, I'm pretty certain I've talked about all three. I was thinking about it last week. The Castle of Illusion remake for the PS3 that came out. That was a lot of fun. That no complaints. It's a solid platformer. I personally think it's better than the original Castle of Illusion for the Sega Genesis. Yeah, I was really impressed with it. Nice narration. Sound effects are legit. Controls are tight. There's no complaints. I have 0 complaints about that game. And it's a fun game to play with some kids. So Lily got a big kick out of it.
Yeah,
and it's easier. I feel like it's easier than the Sega Genesis version. I will say that. So maybe not as challenging, but
I had the 360 demo for it. I never got the whole game, but what I played was pretty cool. The graphics are great. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a really good looking game. So
definitely a throwback to the original on the Sega.
And the sound. I mean, everything's legit. It doesn't ever at any point feel like it's just like a cash in, like those cash in on this Mickey Mouse thing.
Yeah.
It plays like an actual. You could take Mickey Mouse and swap him out with any other character, and you'd still have a solid platformer on your hands.
Oh, most definitely.
Cool.
Well, I'm going to kind of counterpoint that for my number 2. It's so ironic. The game that I love, Mickey Mouse-wise, was the Magical Quest series. I can't say the series or one game. Because they all pretty much play the same.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever played that one.
Oh, man. For your list of my to get on games, that's up there.
What's it on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, the SNES. It's great. I mean, it's a little slow pace, but so is Castle Illusion, like the walking motion. But if you can get around that, you can change in the different costumes on the fly with like the R button. It was and at the time the graphics were incredible. That's my number 2, Disney.
My number 2.
What you got, Holmes?
Might get some heat from your Twitter fans, but DuckTales. Not the original DuckTales, though. The DuckTales remastered.
Ooh.
It was great. That was fantastic. Fully
remastered. You went remastered on them.
Yeah. So
I don't think they can stand that heat in the kitchen right now.
No, you got people like Gary, who, if he was listening, which he probably isn't, would be like stomping and vaping. Nothing beats DuckTales the original. Silly remaster. But no, it was completely fully voice acted by everybody that voiced. All the original voice actors were back in it. If that alone isn't enough to tell you, I don't know what it is. But once again, solid platforming all the way through. Sounds great, looks great.
And ironically, that's why the game gets a lot of flack, because of all the dialogue. Like, there's a lot of dialogue in the game. But like you said, based on who's voice acting it, especially the guy that voiced Scrooge McDuck just passing away recently. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I heard about that. He's like a fucking mid-90s, though. So.
Yeah, he lived a full life, so.
But, whatever. If you don't like the story for DuckTales, go play an NES game. If you don't like stories, go play an NES game.
There you go.
Not a lot of stories.
There you have it.
Is a little bit different. But I like the story that I didn't even know that I wanted. So, it's good. I like that game. So that's my number 2.
My number 1. And see, here's where there's going to get a little heat on the Hard to Name podcast. My number 1 Disney game of all time, based on time spent with it, nostalgia, everything wrapped up into one, graphics. Aladdin for the SNES. My favorite all time. The Magic Carpet Ride is fucking fun as shit. I could pop this game in any day of the week and love me some Aladdin.
Man.
Yeah, I see. I told you I got to turn the AC on because it's getting so hot up in here.
Yeah, but we've got something for everybody on this podcast. So
We do.
everybody's going to walk away a winner.
Everyone's a
number
winner.
one is Aladdin for the Genesis. It's better, and I can say that because I know in my heart that I'm right and you're wrong. So, no, yeah. Genesis
Well,
version.
if that's your factual basis, I think it's smooth sailing for me.
But I feel like we played it safe because now everybody's happy. The people that like the Genesis version, which are me and like that other guy, the other one dude. I mean, seriously though, it had the soundtrack, had the sound effects.
Well, let's do something a little out of the realm funny here about it. Since it is like kind of the same game, let's take it down to overtime in our top three and have a little mini debate. Which is the better game before we sign off tonight? Adam and I are going to have a little heated back and forth. And the first one to fall in the debate category based on staggering, not having a valid answer, is the winner in the greatest Aladdin game of all time. Adam, are you up for this?
I'm ready.
Aladdin SNES versus Aladdin Sega Genesis.
I believe the Genesis version had the licensed music. I don't think the SNES version had the licensed music, so you ended up with it did not sound as good.
The SNES version didn't have the licensed music, but what it did have, since Capcom published it, and I believe developed most of it, it did have a lot of good original music. In some aspects, it's better than the original Aladdin soundtrack. The Cave of Wonders song is amazing.
Nothing is better than the Aladdin soundtrack. And that brings us to our next point. The Cave of Wonders song, Arab Rock. Look it up. Either version. Look up those versions if you're listening to it.
I feel like I should start like a new video series where like I do a compare soundtrack where I throw up the Genesis version soundtrack and then the other version.
I'm pretty sure Genesis blows the SNES out of the water on sound, like quality.
We'll take a chance to do this. What do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments below. What do you guys think has the better soundtrack or the better Aladdin game? Maybe we'll get the listeners in on this.
Here's the winning argument. Are you ready? Because I'm about to knock your socks off.
It better not be a moot point.
It is not a moot point, but it's something you've got to know. You can't even compare or pretend to come back from this.
Well, let's have it.
It does things Nintendo don't.
Ooh. You had to go all 93 Game Pro ad on me, didn't you?
It does things Nintendo don't, man. That's it. That's what it is. So that is our top three. Please comment. Who do you think's right? Adam, who's obviously right, or Travis, who possibly could be right if you're mentally unstable. Please let us know if you're mentally unstable in the comments, and like and subscribe to the Dicky TMD.
Well, first of all, if they're mentally unstable, then we fit the bill. So then they're right at home. So
you're in the right place.
The SNES is the far superior system than the Sega Genesis. Let's just get that out of the way.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. I will say that is probably true.
Aladdin is one of the best looking games on the Genesis. I definitely agree. I love the Aladdin Sega version. I don't hate it. But to put it up against my main man SNES version over here, you just can't. You just can't. In a good way for me.
Yeah, they're both good games. So go play both of them. But just know.
Just go play them.
Arab Rock.
Yeah, just go play them, guys. You decide.
On the Genesis. There's a video on YouTube from a dude who I cannot think of his name. But if you go to YouTube, you type up Aladdin, Arab Rock. There is a guy with a Sonic shirt playing guitar.
Oh yeah, he did the Gargoyles theme from the Sega game. He does all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he did the Doom song. He did the Doom theme too.
Yeah, he does everything. Shout out to him and Smooth McGroove. Smooth McGroove's
I don't know who that guy is. I don't think he's made a video in a long time, but head over there, give him some love. That's a good video. And I don't know who that guy is. So have fun. Again.
Smooth McGroove?
No, I love Smooth McGroove. I don't know who the other guy is.
Oh.
Smooth McGroove is fantastic, but he's on this crazy Undertale kick, which is a story for another day. We can't go down the Undertale road.
Yeah. Not this time, guys. But until
Maybe
next time,
never.
maybe. I don't see. I never really. Okay, I'm not going to do it about Undertale. We'll save it.
Let's not do it. Let's not even do it because if you do that, it's gonna make a lot of angry people angry at us. I don't. Nope. I'm not even gonna do it. So that was episode 2 or episode 3, depending on how you count chronologically, of the Hard to Name podcast.
Well, we made it to the finish line. We crossed it. We got there huffing and puffing along the way at the end, but we made it. It's been a pleasure.
You Twitter followers of this podcast and of the channel, please get on Travis. Tell him to get Worms, Battlegrounds, Nidhogg, and Rocket League. So just keep blowing him up. Blow him up on Twitter. Lots and lots of, tell him he listens to you. He doesn't listen to me. He likes you guys more. So get on it. Get on it. Also, maybe we should make like a PlayStation group or something. Not on the PS4. Let people come and play with us on games.
Sounds good.
That's something we can do down the road. We got to talk about that. Figure out how to do that. Throw our PSN handles out there. See if anybody wants to play anything ever. So
definitely.
Maybe.
We'll get a lot of things up and running as the show progresses. Maybe we'll have a Facebook group. Maybe we'll have an official Twitter. Who knows what the future brings for the Hard to Name podcast.
I don't understand social medias unless you handle that aspect. But
I'll handle the social media. You handle the worms.
We could throw it out there. So it's Hibiki TMD, just like how you found this on the PlayStation Network, or Timmy Tamlin on the PlayStation Network. So hit us up there if you want to talk or play games, or just secretly tell me that Travis is wrong about the Aladdin thing. We all know he's wrong.
Or if you want to still come over to our houses and make us dinner, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, definitely welcome. Anytime.
I like
I'm always
cheesesteak.
pushing for dinner.
I'll take a cheesesteak. But yeah, make sure to follow the show on the Hibiki TMD at Twitter and on Facebook. And I'm doing a shitty job of ending the show, but I'm going to pick it up here. Adam, thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure, my friend, shooting the shit, talking about some games, comics, our friend Joe, who reads in the bathtub, everything in between. Thank you for joining me, man. You guys, we'll see you next time on the Hard to Name podcast. Have a great week. Maybe we'll talk about Undertale. Who knows? Have a good one, guys. We'll see you later, alligator.
Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. Check out the Hibiki TMD Facebook group for everything retro gaming, pro wrestling podcasts, and everything in between. Thanks for watching another video, and thanks for stopping by on Hibiki TMD.
Hey, what is going on here?